Hi, I'm Helen Noakes from the Yoga Health Mandala, and we're on the terrace in Greece, where I live. And I don't know if you can hear the birds, but it's really beautiful. And I'm back here with Nirmala, and we were just discussing about our thoughts and feelings around the kind of movement that we share and love and teach. And we're going to kind of have a little discussion about that and interweave it with Nirmala's own personal journey into herself through Sri Lanka and India and many other exciting places. And let's see where it leads us. So over to you, Nirmala. I'm going to ask a question. If you could describe what you do, what you share so beautifully, how would you do that?
Well, I think it's a journey, a deep, compassionate journey through your body into life. Yeah, it's a dance I encourage people to dive into, between and with their spine and the space between all the tissue in your body and the outer space as well. So it's more like a deep diving into your nervous system, like into your heart and the space behind your heart, and from that exploring your body in your own way. So I come from this yoga direction, and after teaching yoga for some time, and I started to teach, I think it's like 23 years ago or so, I found it so not appropriate actually to the body. It was kind of missing out so many kind of corners, juicy stuff in the bones, in the tissue, in the joints, in the cells. And I kind of explored for myself. And nature helped so much with it. I was kind of practicing a lot in nature and then just getting funny and creative and crazy with things. So I'm like, when I'm teaching, like, it's with the space around, like your classes a bit, like you're also so nicely like joining in with the walls of the room or with your sofa, or like you can do yoga like with the inner space and the outer space. Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed how you expressed that and how I just put you on the spot and how it just comes spontaneously. And I think this movement from impulse, we can have all sorts of journeys and pathways, and it also depends on your definition of the word impulse. And the impulse can come from within, without, or through, or above, below.
Yeah.
So let's take this a little bit further. So let's tap into a little bit where we've come from, the background. Like, for instance, for me, I actually enjoyed the discipline and the alignment of something like a practice inspired by Iyengar. And then I realised that there was something really missing. So can you talk a little bit about how, a bit more how you feel how this freedom that we've allowed ourselves, how that's kind of brought you into, how it mixes with your life choices and how you are with your family, because I think that's also important, is how we integrate that, because we can look all kind of juicy and look in a certain way while we're teaching or on the mat, but how is that?
Yeah, thank you for this question. It's somehow really touching me. I feel like what comes up for me is like when I first went like kind of more formal on the spiritual path, so-called, and I spent years in India and Sri Lanka just doing meditation and yoga. And it was like always kind of the same instructions, especially the sitting and meditation for hours and hours. I did like 16 hours sitting every day, it was like so tough, and the teacher was like really goal orientated, and I was getting really depressed from it actually. And I heard that lots of Western people did get like the feeling of burnout after doing so strict meditation retreats. And like I remember that the Dalai Lama, he once said something about us German people, that we are already judging ourselves so often. He didn't know this from his own culture, like we are so hard on ourselves. So I don't believe that this approach is especially made for us Western people. Like we need something more soft. So I came to meet two wonderful teachers, Jaya Ashmore and Gemma Polo, and they do laying down meditation, deep rest meditation. It was a revolution for my body to let go. Wow, I can reach something, so-called, without doing anything, just letting go. So with coming on this trip, and now with my children, like we just traveled from Portugal with the bus here to Greece, as you know, and we keep going further into Georgia. I'm asked so often, like, but you know, they do have to go to school, and how do you earn your money? And this is not kind of safe, isn't it? And I think, well, life, in a way, it's never safe. And another way, it's safe all the time. There's nothing more safe than life. If you expand and if you have the vastness, it's all just ripples, it's all just waves which happening, and I never know what the next moment brings me. And I want to, like how I did with my movement classes, or how I do in movement, following the impulses, you know. So I want to follow the impulses in life, and when I have the impulse, hey, this is doing good for our family, and I really want to stay close to my husband and my children, and I really want to explore life in this different way and go into deep, heavy-duty nature, I just do it. I don't think about, like, you know, I believe everything will be there if you just follow your heart and do your thing.
Well, I'm speechless. I absolutely resonate with every word that you said. And I think that we have this feeling that the austere practice, you know, we were talking about in a class the other day, we were mentioning that some of the yoga practices in Mysore, for instance, came from a military background, which, you know, definitely has possibly a place. But again, it's how far do we take that? How do we interpret in that body? You know, we don't want to create more tension on top of the already tension that we've already accumulated through, dare I say the word trauma, you know, or, you know, life shocks or anything, you know, why add to that? So you're giving space, and I think the examples you gave from your experiences in Sri Lanka, I mean, I know that you also wanted to almost become a nun, and then life took you away and you became pregnant, which is so interesting. So you are very open to respond to the impulse of life, and also the trusting. So I'd like you to, for the last question maybe, is to maybe tune in to how life has led you and how you've opened to this impulse of trust, and how that makes you feel, and maybe talk a little bit about your kids as well. I know we talked a bit in the last podcast about the kids, but what you're noticing, some of the struggles that you're also noticing with them, because I know that, of course, the kid, you know, your oldest daughter wants to go home to be with her girlfriends, of course. So things like that. What comes up for you?
Yeah. I think trust. I can only kind of let myself fall back again and again into this. Well, I can call it like vastness or big wide open space. I could call it earth as well. It sounds kind of the opposite, but it's not in a way. And this, like, falling back into these places, like also into a place of safety in my body. It may be if, like, there's anxiety, or like when I, kind of almost became a nun and I became pregnant, there was a lot of anxiety as well, and there was also a lot of pain and confusion, and but then there's also at the same time always a spot somewhere inside the body, or maybe outside, you know, where it feels like calm and restful and peaceful. So, like, we humans have the habit of sinking into the negativity, like always focusing the stuff which is not right, but actually there's always something, you know, like now I can feel like my legs shivering a bit from the cold, but then if I open my eyes in a smooth way, I see the sun around your face, and so there's an opening up, you know, and why not bringing my attention there? And that's how I try to do it with the kids as well, and it's a path, you know. I sometimes already really get soaked into it as well, like being reactive and stuff, but letting the grip loose again and again, I would say, and just being open to how things develop and being there with the heart. Being there with the heart, I think.
Yeah, thanks, Nirmala. And I think what just came up to me, for me then, just to close our little interview, is to be like Laurie Ladd. She's a wonderful, she's on Instagram, but she talks a lot about just being with everything and allowing it to flow through. So whatever, being with whatever emotion, whether it's comfortable or uncomfortable, or like a thunderstorm, rattling and robbing you of everything, and throwing you out, spitting you on the floor, chewing you up, and then you go in the washing machine, and then you go in the spinner, then you come out and on the floor, and then you kind of rise like the phoenix, and then all these other feelings come. So I think being blissful all the time would be absolutely exhausting. And
You're right.
We would always have to come back to this 3D to re-experience remembering. So you really inspire me. Thanks for coming to visit. And you'll see all of Nirmala's contacts and website and Facebook page and YouTube channel at the end of this podcast. And thanks for listening and tuning in. Lots of love.
Thank you.
Thank you.